Welcome in, spooks, and welcome to a big unhaul. Well, big for me. I'm classing this as a big unhaul. If you saw my 2024 wrap-up / shelf reorganization, that was so hard to say. Then you'll know that I had to take my TBR jar shelf, great, off and into a cupboard to make room for all the books that I have read and purchased recently. So whilst we are not currently pressed for space, we're approaching it. Right now, behind you are all of the books that I've read so far in 2025, and that stack will only grow. And so at the end of this year, I will have to find a home for them all. And right now, my shelves are at kind of like 90% capacity. And there are some books on here that I have not read since 2009, so we need to go through and get rid of some things. Here is my parameters for unhauling. Ultimately, I want to have a library, essentially. So I want friends and family to come around and say, oh, you know what, I fancy reading something like this. And I'm like, you wait right there, my friend. And I go and get a book and lend it to them. That's how I want this to work. Because I want to keep all the books that I've read and loved for that purpose, to share them with other people. But there are some books on my shelf here that I did not like. Not love, not like. Did not like at all. There are some books on here I think I may have even DNF'd. So we need to cull it. Let's stop yapping and start unhauling. Let's go. I want you to know I'll be balancing precariously on my spinny office chair, so just look out for me, okay? Can you spot me? And yell if it looks like I'm about to fall. There is no real organisation to these shelves. This shelf here that you can see is books that I read last year. That's what we're going through first. I will go through in more detail the books that I choose to unhaul. Right now we're just taking them off the shelf. Ooh, undecided. Because I said that there are some I'm keeping because I would recommend them to people, it might not be a book that I necessarily enjoyed. So Barbara Kingsolver's Demon Copperhead, I didn't necessarily enjoy, but someone would. So I'm keeping it as a recommendation. I'm tempted to unhaul She's Always Hungry by Eliza Clark. I didn't enjoy it, but it was a pre-order, so I paid a lot of money for it. And I guess there might be somebody I'd recommend it to. I don't think there's going to be anything this side I want to get rid of. Okay, let's go to a different shelf. Danger! Danger! Okay, we're down, we're down. Who's about? Hi! Okay, we're putting one leg on the desk. That feels like that's a great idea. Those three are there because I'd already lent them to someone. See, this is how it should work. I didn't mention, but this shelf is all the books that I have read a very long time ago, like the longest time ago. Some of them, I think I mentioned in my intro that I've got The Reader up here by Bernard Schlink, and I read that in 2009. This shelf is all the books that I read probably 2023, 2022. So more recently, but not last year. This is Nemesis. I bought her from Etsy and she's an inspiration for a novel I'm writing. We love her. She can go here for the time being. Here is a poem I wrote. We won't show you that. Stand up. Right, thank you. Here's a little card that Wayward Adventures sent with my latest order. We love Wayward Adventures. If you don't know who they are, here, pause screen. Come here right now. Keeping all of those except for that. I'll tell you later. Okay, this corner section here is poetry. It should be anyway. This is the end of my TBR, so we're ignoring all that because I'd like to read it. Keeping all of those and keeping anything Margaret Atwood. Don't even know why I showed you that corner because we're keeping everything. Hi, we're back on the chair. This corner here, which is really hard to show you, is all of my, I think, non-fiction. So I imagine some of this will probably want to go away. Danger. This is my book that can move. Atomic Habits and Keeping. Excuse me, sir. Oh, there is a cobweb. Okay, it's fine. Everything's fine. I've got some haikus by Tyler Knott Gregson. I like those. Oh, this is poems. what are you doing up here? I've got 2 books on how to write poetry, Darwin's On the Origin of Species, another book on how to write poetry. Probably don't need all of those, but if you think I'm putting my hand in there with those cobwebs, you got another thing coming. Save the Cat, The Crafty Art of Playmaking. That's from university. I probably won't write plays ever, so I could get rid of that, but again, not putting my hand in there. 3 more books on writing fiction, 101 Ways to Make Poetry Sell, and Travis Barker's autobiography. There's a couple I could get rid of, but as I said, ain't no way my hand is going in there. So we're just gonna come away from the shelf. There are 16 books that I have just pulled from my shelf, on top of 6 books here in my hand, which I have previously taken off my shelves, with the intention of donating, and I've just never got around to it. So let me tell you about the 6 books I had already decided to unhaul. The first of which is one of 3 books that I have in this overall pile, and the author, I do not wish to have any of their books on my shelf. Therefore, I will not be giving them the time of day by talking about them on this channel, and I will be just removing them. So 3 of those books we're not talking about. First up, I have Marginal by Tom Carlyle. I subscribe to a horror subscription box, and amongst some other things, this arrived, and I just have no desire to read it. I'm not even going to read you what it's about because I don't know. I will donate that one though, because I'm sure somebody would like it. Next I have Bad Choices by Lucy Vine. This one I bought because a book club that I was attending was reading it and I wanted to be involved. But I think I got maybe 30% of the way through and DNF'd because it was just childish friendships and I had no desire to continue, so... But I'm sure someone will like it. This one I'm a little bit ashamed to admit. Okay, but we're going to. Next up, I have 100 Years of Solitude by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. Look, this was in my March TBR, that right? This was in my March TBR, but I could not get through it. I think this one I got further, I got to maybe 40%, and I was so not invested in the story. And this is supposed to be, isn't it rated like #1 dystopian? I don't know, I'm sure I'm the problem, but I do not want to continue. But somebody will see this. I'm going to take all these books, by the way, to my offices. We have like a book swap. I'm going to take all my books there, and someone will love to see this on the shelf. I'm going to need to take up my tabs before I donate these. But next up we have The Sea by John Banville. I can't remember which video I spoke about this one in, but I hated it. Really hated it. I don't think I finished it. It was following a man and his daughter and their grief, and it was just... All I will tell you is you can tell this was written by a man. And I don't think that man ever met a woman or liked one. Next up we have Such Sharp Teeth by Toby Barlow. I bought this one back when I was at university, so we're talking 2010 maybe 2011. It's a novel in verse, but it's really boring. So I'm donating it. I feel like someone might be interested in it. Maybe. It's about werewolves. Let's talk about the books that I just took from my 2024 shelf. First up we have Mona by Paula Oloitzarak, and I understood, I think, what this book was trying to do, but I was not the intended audience. So I think I rated this maybe 1 or 2 stars, and I just really did not have a good time. So that's going to be donated. I feel like it's quirky, and the right sort of person will find it deep. It's literary fiction, so it either hits or it doesn't hit for you, right? It's just a personal preference. I am donating Sarah Morgan's The Christmas Book Club. No hate to this book, I really enjoyed it, but I will never reread it because I have lots of Christmas books in my TBR jar, so this one's going to go to a good home. I'm making a mess. Next up I have Dear Everybody by Michael Kimball. I didn't mind this book. I think I rated it 3 stars when I read it a few months ago, maybe November, December, maybe October, unsure. It's written in mixed media format, mostly epistolary, I think, and it was fine. I quite enjoyed it. It was like, when I say enjoyed it, it's very sad, but it's quite impactful. I would just never reread it, and I probably wouldn't recommend it to anybody. Someone will enjoy it though. I don't think I can donate this one because it's a sequel, and I'm not donating the first book because I love the first book. First Frost by Sarah Addison Allen is a sequel to Garden Spells, and I adored that book. This one, couldn't get through it, DNF'd it about 60%. In fact, I think I just skim read because I wanted to know what was going to happen. Really dull, which is such a shame because I was so excited to read this. I bought this straight away after reading Garden Spells and waited almost a year for there to be the first frost so that I could read this. I waited for it to snow. It doesn't snow here that often. and then I was gravely disappointed. But maybe I will donate it, and if somebody really does seem interested, they will know to pick up the first one. I don't know. Unsure what to do about this one. I have 2 copies as well. I don't know how that happened. Next up from my shelf of books that I read many moons ago, I have John Green's Let It Snow. It's obviously an anthology of 3 holiday romances. Oh, it's an ARC! How did I acquire this? How did I acquire this? Can you donate ARCs? Is it just that you can't sell an ARC? Okay, maybe I don't know what to do about that then. I didn't know this was an ARC. I'm assuming that I did not get this from a publisher. Don't know how I got that, but I have no desire to reread that. I've got all of my John Green books left on my shelf and I will keep those. But the anthology, I remember reading his story and I was just like, okay, average. I'm so sad about this one. Tell Me I'm Worthless by Alison Rumfitt. I loved the premise of this, but it just felt a little bit like hate porn and I was just unbelievably sad reading it. And I know that the author meant for that to be the reaction, but I wasn't having a good time. And I don't expect to have a good time with all of the books I read. I mean, I read and thought it was a good craft, A Little Life. For the right person, 100% would be a good read. I don't doubt that Alison is a good writer. I just don't think I'm their audience. In possibly 2023 or 2022, I read What Belongs to You by Garth Greenwell. And I don't know where I found this recommendation. I can't remember where I used to get my recommendations from. It might have even just been like Amazon said to get it. But I hated it. Really hated it. I finished it, but I hated it. I honestly read it so long ago, I can't even tell you what it's about. I believe it is literary fiction. It is apparently a stunning debut novel of desire and its consequences. I hated it. I'm not going to be able to give you much information about the next 3 books. As if the information I've been giving so far is abundant. Actually, I'm not going to be able to give you much information on the next 6 books because I have no memory of reading them. We're talking long time ago, except for 2. Let me speedrun the ones that I read a long time ago and have no memory whatsoever. The Universe vs. Alex Woods by Gavin Extons. A Tale of Unlikely Friendship. I read this when it came out. Oh boy, when were you released? I didn't crack the spine. That's impressive for me. 2013. I read this in 2013. I have no memory of what it's about. I'm unhauling it. Again, We Are All Made of Stars by Rowan Coleman. I read this when it came out in 2015. Absolutely no recollection of what it's about. We're unhauling it. Somewhere Inside of Happy by Anna McPartlin. There is a note. Proverbial. What does that mean? Why have I written proverbial? Not sure why. This came out in 2015 and I read it when it came out, so again I have no idea what it's about. I'm just not interested in rereading any of these. This is the last one of ones that I read a long time ago. We Are All Completely Beside Ourselves by Karen Joy Fowler. I do remember enjoying this one. It was shortlisted for the Man Booker Prize 2014. I imagine that's when I read it. I remember enjoying it, but I have no idea what it's about, and that was 11 years ago, so I wouldn't judge my own recommendation on this one. So we're unhauling it. Someone's going to enjoy these books. Someone will bother to read the backs, which I am currently not doing. Next up we have Treacle Walker by Alan Gardner. This is more recent. It won the Booker Prize 2022. My grandma gave this one to me in 2022 and said, I don't understand why people like this book. Do you understand? And I read the first 20-30% and I said, no, I do not understand. I will be unhauling it. I also have a exclusive copy of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. I don't think I need to tell you why I'm getting rid of all of my J.K. Rowling books. There's no room for hate on these shelves. And an ex bought this for me and I have no desire to have that on my shelf for that reason either. I'm torn whether to donate this or to just get rid, but I don't know. I'm unhauling it. And finally, we have made it to the end. I am unhauling The Department of Speculation by Jenny Offill. This one is a queer literary fiction, I think, and I wanted at every page to obsess over this and to love it, but I didn't get it. And I know that's the problem you sometimes get with literary fiction. You either get it or you don't. You either love it or you don't. This one I did not get. Where is this from? What does that say? There's a stamp, but I have no idea what that is from. This one came out in, I think this copy's from 2014. but I did read it more recently than that. It says book club on, it must be an old library book maybe that got sold. It's in withdrawn from Waterford Municipal Library. I don't know where that is, but I am quite excited about donating this one because I think the right person will pick this up and love it. I really wanted to, but I did not. I need to go through and pick out all of my tabs. And then I need to buy more books to fill in all my gaps. But for now, I thank you very much for watching. If you saw any books on my shelf, then you're thinking, why do you still own that? Cut it loose. Let me know. Drop it in the comments down below and I will throw it out the window or submit it to my works book swap. Either or. Thank you for watching and I'll catch you in a video very, very soon. Bye! Let me show you a place where you gon' wanna move your feet until they start to